A special session of the Texas legislature is underway this week. In the aftermath of the July 4th flood, the governor added flood and disaster protection to the agenda. But a big focus is also on redistricting. That's after a request from the president for Texas to redraw its congressional districts to give Republicans 5 more of the state's 38 seats in Congress. Currently, Democrats hold just 12 of the seats. The proposed change would give Republicans 30 seats, with Democrats, in theory, holding on to just 8. That would create an 80% Republican delegation, far above the 56% Republican vote share in the 2024 presidential election. Democrats are crying foul.
There is no doubt there were failures at every level of government, the county, the state of Texas, the federal government. And what this special session should be about is doing something to correct those failures. Redistricting, this scheme, is an act of desperation. A desperate president is doing whatever it takes to cling to power.
Texas has always been found to be intentionally discriminatory. And so I want y'all to understand the makeup of my state. The state is a majority-minority state. And what this legislature historically has done is what they plan to do again, is to dilute the voices of people of color in order to make sure that they can get to where they're trying to go.
The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has threatened a countermove to create more Democratic seats in his very blue state. More on that from San Francisco Chronicle politics reporter Sophia Bollag, who joins us now. Thank you so much for being with us, Sophia.
Thanks for having me.
Based on your reporting, how serious is Governor Newsom's redistricting threat?
So at this point, it's just rhetoric, but it hasn't been that long. He first started talking about this, I think, a little less than 2 weeks ago. So there hasn't been that much time that has passed between he started threatening this and now. But he has not taken any moves to call a special election, which is one way that he's suggested they could start this process. And to my knowledge, there hasn't been any legislation introduced by his allies in the legislature to enact this. I reached out to both of the Democratic legislative leaders this morning, and while they haven't said they oppose this proposal from Newsom, they also haven't explicitly endorsed what he's doing. So I think at this point, it still remains to be seen if there's actually going to be any action taken. But Newsom has said that he's serious, and it sounds like he really is seriously considering this and discussing it with staff, how he might take an action to sort of counter Texas's redistricting moves.
California has made this type of political gerrymandering, one party rigging the map against the other, very difficult to do historically. So how practically possible, though, is this?
So it would be difficult. So unlike in Texas, where the legislature draws the maps, California voters in 2010 passed a ballot measure that essentially took that power from the legislature and handed it over to an independent redistricting commission. So as you mentioned, California is a pretty liberal place. Democrats dominate the legislature, but they don't dominate this commission. There have to be, by law, equal numbers of Republicans and Democrats, and then also a number of commissioners who are not affiliated with either party. And that's who draws our congressional maps here in California. And so in order to carry out this threat that Gavin Newsom, the governor, is making, he would need to either go back to voters and have them change the law, which would require a special election, or he's also suggested that the legislature could choose to interpret the existing state law that was passed back in 2010 as essentially, being silent on what happens in between the official sort of redistricting periods, which happen right after the census is taken every decade, and interpret the law to mean that the legislature can draw new districts in the middle. That it's not clear whether that would hold up in court, and that's certainly a potentially legally very risky strategy because it could be overturned. But those are the two avenues that he's talked about.
And you brought up the concept of voters. What is your sense of the political desire in California to do this, either in the legislature or among voters?
Democrats in California overwhelmingly don't approve of the job that President Trump is doing. They want to see their elected leaders pushing back more forcefully on Trump and Republicans policies and political maneuvers. And so the governor has argued that he thinks if they put this on the ballot that it would pass. Too soon to say, unfortunately, but there's definitely a lot of anger at the Trump administration and at Republicans among Democrats in California right now. And right now, they're the ones really who call the shots here.
No doubt an interesting power struggle taking shape all around. Sophia Bollag from the San Francisco Chronicle, thank you so much for these insights into the California political landscape.
Happy to be here.
Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave us a comment below to let us know your thoughts on this video. And don't forget, you can watch full episodes of Austin Insight for free in the PBS app.